Okay, so I'm over here in Washington, D.C. The rest of my party is split up so we can go and explore what we want to explore. And right now, we're just passing the Treasure Bree building over here. It's pretty interesting. There's a lot of people here.
And there's a lot of history behind Washington, D.C. It all started off as marshland that was originally inhabited by the Nacotchtank Native Americans. After the American Revolutionary War, the Articles of the Confederation were written, but didn't give Congress authority over its own land. So when there was a mutiny in Pennsylvania in 1783, Congress was forced to temporarily leave the state. When the Constitution was written, they made sure to give the new government power over its own capital.
Wow, this is the fanciest McDonald's I've ever seen.
A law called the Residence Act was passed, and George Washington himself helped plan out the city. By 1801, the city of Washington was open for business.
If you look around, we have this is more of air stuff, airplanes, large and small. Alright, so this is the Spirit of St. Louis over here. You can see it's a little faded. They have a replica of one in San Diego International Airport in Terminal 2. Viking. This is a Viking lander. They had one of these in Kansas too. And basically its goal is to land on Mars and give everyone else the finger.
The National Mall is full of some of the best museums in the world, and they're free to the public. This is the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. This place includes actual flown spacecraft from the 60s space race. I wanted to visit more of the museums, but I ran out of time and had to move on. And it didn't take long before I stumbled into a memorial that I never knew existed. So I decided to check it out, and boy, was I surprised.
This is an interesting spot I've never seen. What is this? Any man who may be asked what he did to make his life worthwhile can respond with a good deal of pride and satisfaction. I served in the United States Navy. I'm a Navy veteran. Here's National Archives.
I went inside with the intention of filming our founding documents, but got rejected.
Alright, so I just came out from the National Archives. They didn't allow video or photography in there, so I couldn't take any photography. Part of the reason was, I guess those documents are so old that they're afraid of any sort of light damaging them. So, plus it's actually really dim in there, so I don't think I would have been able to get good shots. It's a giant rotunda in the middle, and within that rotunda, there's you start off with the Magna Carta, and the Magna Carta is actually pretty well preserved. So then when you get inside, they have a few of the copies of the Declaration. They try to tell the story of how they were written, and you finally get to the Declaration of Independence. It's actually really, really, really faded. It's difficult to read, just about impossible to read. The Constitution is a little better preserved, and you can actually see all the signatures very well, unlike the Declaration of Independence. And then as you go to the end, they got the Bill of Rights, and that's actually kind of faded as well, although not as faded as the Declaration of Independence. So in order to quality, it would be from best quality to worst. It would be the Magna Carta, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. I'm going on a bike tour.
I really just liked it when it was completed, because
Our wonderful tour guide with the watermelon helmet gave us a lot of information about each site, including this French-style executive building that was built next to the White House in 1888. It used to be the State War and Navy building, but now it's basically a very extravagant office building. The Blair House, which is used as a president's guest house, is just across the street, but it's under repairs. In 2004, the building was renamed the Eisenhower Old Executive Office Building. They began construction of the White House in 1792, and it was completed by 1800. During the War of 1812, the British invaded the city and set fire to the house. Every president from John Adams on has lived here at one point. This is also the home of the nation's oldest protests. Oh, and speaking of protests, we should probably pause here for a second, just so that we can let this one pass. Yeah, this is a busy place. After the death of George Washington, a monument was planned in his honor, and construction began in 1848, and was halted only briefly by the Civil War. It was completed by 1884, but in 2011 it sustained damage from an earthquake and a hurricane, and has been under repair since. The Capitol Dome will be going through its own set of repairs soon. One of the first things you notice about DC is just how large it is. All of these beautiful pictures of the Capitol, Washington, and Lincoln monuments together, it's an illusion. In reality, the Capitol and the Lincoln monuments are 2 miles away, more than just a light walk. Because of the heat wave, by the time we got to Lincoln, I needed a rest.
I am so spoiled by San Diego's weather. Taking a break right in front of the Lincoln Memorial. A lot of people here.
I found out their gift shop had AC, so I decided to see what they had. Surprise, surprise, lots of Lincoln books. The Lincoln Monument is also home to one of the most prettiest views in Washington, D.C.
So this is the theater where Abraham Lincoln was shot. And this is the building where he died. So I was gonna see if I can go inside the, I guess it's called the Peterson building, but I guess I need a ticket, and I can get it across the street at Ford's, but that's a long line.
Instead, I decided to leave the National Mall and check out Arlington National Cemetery. Opened in 1864, it is the most prestigious burial ground in the country. The first thing you notice is just how quiet it is. Listen.
And just thinking, on Memorial Day, they put flags on every single one of these.
I only had time to visit one place, so I chose Kennedy's gravesite. John F. Kennedy was the 35th U.S. president and only spent about 3 years in office. In that time, though, he avoided a nuclear war with Soviet Russia and kick-started the space race that would end with Americans landing on the moon in 1969. He was never able to see that happen, unfortunately, because he was assassinated in 1963. He and his family are buried here, highlighted by an eternal flame as a symbol of hope. This is one of the most powerfully peaceful environments I have ever known. Overlooking the National Mall, it leaves one in just simple awe. Okay, off to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. He watches over me while I read. Here I am explaining quantum mechanics to John Adams. He thinks I'm crazy, but only because he doesn't know physics like Thomas Jefferson and I do. Otherwise, he's quite the smart man. It was very busy here. Our presidents are a popular group here in DC. Unlike regular politicians, you don't need an appointment or expensive donation to meet them, and if you want to talk about politics, they'll listen to you and don't respond back. Like this? Yes, I like Martin Van Buren.
Hi, William.
had fun here, but I had to walk out in the middle of the performance. It was so funny, the actors were killing me. Keep in mind, libraries full of books have been written about these people. Memorials erected, their faces plastered everywhere. This was a gallery of immortals, a gallery of the most influential world figures in recent history. And Madonna. We always gotta have Madonna. This was a very euphoric visit for me. I've heard of this place all my life, but this was the first time it felt like a real place, not just a set on the news or a disaster movie. There was so much to do here, however, I ran out of time. If you ever visit DC, plan to stay for more than a day so you can cover more ground. And if it's hot, bring water and money. Lots of money.
Alright, I'm hungry. Time to eat. Now, I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun here. I'll go ahead and show you the Capitol one more time. I'll go ahead and show you the Washington Monument one more time. Alright. Bye.